Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Dublin's Smock Alley. This is the National Homebrew Club's BrewCon 2017. Your host for today and President of the National Homebrew Club, Mr. Thomas Carroll.
Thank you, John. An improvement on last year's, I'll give you that. Hello, welcome to BrewCon 2017.
And welcome to the Irish Craft Beer Show. I'm Brian Condren. BrewCon 2017 was held on the 29th of April in the Smock Alley Theatre on Exchange Street in Dublin. Organised by the National Homebrew Club, it's the largest gathering of homebrewers in Ireland and a highlight of the brewing year. A place to catch up with brewing friends, sample brews from clubs all over Ireland and hopefully learn something new from homebrew legends. Basically, a day spent with like-minded people. The inaugural BrewCon was held in 2015 and focused on the 4 pillars of brewing and how to take your brewing to the next level. Chris White of White Labs was keynote speaker, along with Chris O'Flynn, the Malting Company of Ireland. Rory Shields of Guinness taught us about safety in brewing, and Ben Adams of Charles Farm Hops told us that Fuggles could soon be no more. With so successful that in 2016 we were back at Smock Alley again with talks from NHC legends Peter Dudley and Brendan Murphy. Rory Shields of Guinness was back again, and with Garrow Cattle of Alltech, Bill Simpsons of Car Technologies and Alex Laws of Whiplash Brewing. From the other side of the Atlantic we had Chip Walton of Chop and Brew, and the keynote speaker was Gordon Strong and the BJCP. Chip Walton covered the 2016 conference extensively for Chop and Brew. I suggest you all go and check out that episode, which will be linked in the video description below. Which brings us to 2017, and to find out how that went, let's head back to NHC President Extraordinaire.
Hi, so we've just finished BrewCon 2017. We're now on, I think, Ireland's first ever club night. We've got 25, 26 corny kegs. I'm drinking an oatmeal stout from the South Kildare Brewers, and it's going to be a great night. So we had 6 speakers today. We started with Rossa O'Neill, who's a very accomplished homebrewer from Ireland. We then had Jasmin who works for Diageo. She's originally from Germany. She talked us through German brewing styles. Then we had a talk on cider from Mark Jenkinson of Cocky D Cider. He talked about key bean cider, really old-fashioned traditional way of making cider. We had a break for lunch, and then after lunch we had our keynote from John Palmer. We had a talk from Tasty McDole, Mike McDole, award-winning craft brewer from America, and then we finished up with Brandon Jones from Yazoo Brew in Tennessee, who talked us through sour brewing and how you can do it at home, and kind of dispelled a lot of the myths and a lot of the fears that people would have about sour brewing. Yeah, now we're on club night.
The BrewCon swag bag was back this year, loaded with cans of beer from the likes of Metal Man and Yellow Belly, as well as sachets of yeast and vouchers for malt. Also a first this year was the BrewCon t-shirt. Surely this will be a collectible item in the future. Check out eBay, folks. The conference programme also provided info on all the speakers and recipes for beers we would sample later on in the club night. We all crowded into the main auditorium, cracked open a can and settled down to enjoy the day. Rossa O'Neill is well known in homebrewing circles in Ireland as a former NHC president, multiple competition winner and someone who consistently brings great beers to club meets, so it was interesting to see him describe his process, his recipe formulation, how he went from being a homebrewer to brewing professionally, and where he gets all his shirts. My takeaway from his talk: I need to drink more beer. A critical process, yes, that works for me. Jasmin from the Black Forest gave an excellent presentation on traditional German beer styles and the brewing methods of her homeland. The Reinheitsgebot can still allow room for variety and experimentation, much more than us homebrewers tend to appreciate. But lowering the temperature for a diacetyl rest? Not too sure about that. She really opened my eyes to the potential of various styles of lager though, and I've since brewed one of her Pilsner recipes, using a Tasty McDole inspired fast fermentation method. Sorry Jasmin, I guess not German enough. Es tut mir leid. It really amazed me just how few ingredients there were in her recipes. Just 2 types of malt, some noble hops and very clean yeast. Not much room to hide your mistakes. Mark Jenkinson of Cockagee Cider's description of the keeping process had me riveted. It was something I'd never heard of before. I couldn't possibly do the process justice by attempting to describe it here. Suffice it to say that after at least a year's hard work and conditioning, you can end up with a spectacular cider that doesn't need to be filtered, pasteurised or sweetened. Next up was John Palmer, who I was very excited to see. When I first started to take this brewing thing seriously, I bought a copy of How to Brew and it has been well consulted since. It was a very interesting talk. My biggest take home was that I did not ramp up the temperature enough at the end of fermentation to allow yeast to clean up. John recommended 24 degrees for ale and up to 20 degrees for lagers. I don't think Jasmin agreed. I also got to update my copy of How to Brew and even get it signed.
Hi, I'm John Palmer. I'm here at BrewCon 2017, and it's my first time to Ireland. I'm loving it. I tried to bore everybody with talks about fast maturation and pH, and I think it was largely successful. I told my usual hydrogen ion joke, and I got a good response. Woke them up a bit. But next year, I hope to come back with something even more complicated, and to have an actual written quiz that I can pass out. So cheers, and look forward to seeing you next time.
There was a variety of equipment from Grainfodder on display, including their all-in-one brewing system, of which I am a very satisfied user. Excitingly, they also had their new glycol chiller and double skim fermenter available to play with. I've never seen so many people captivated by a description of a valved dump yeast. Everyone in attendance was entered into a raffle to win a Grainfodder of their own, and a hush fell over the crowd as the winner's name was drawn.
Congratulations, Cameron. You've always wanted a brewing system. Brilliant. For those who don't know, Cameron owns a brewery.
Cameron and all at 8 Degrees have put their Grainfodder to first use. I sampled the first fruits of their labour at the RDS last September and it was good. After lunch was Tasty McDole of the Brewing Network, and we were all just waiting for the Q&A session to ask what did he think of Jasmin's lager methods. My favourite question he was asked though, how many iterations of Janet's brown ale has he been forced to sample?
Thomas has made a version of Janet's Brown Light, and I'm going to try it for the first time here today. He really did a great job. He got it 3.5%. It's got all the malt character and all the good stuff you like in a Janet's Brown. It's great. I could drink it all day. Cheers. Cheers.
In fairness, Tasty really was the life and soul of the after party. He really enjoyed trying people's beers and made plenty of time for selfies. You're welcome back to Dublin anytime you want, Mike. Next up, it was time to embrace the funk with Brandon Jones.
Hey everybody, I'm Brandon Jones with Yazoo Brewing Company in Nashville, Tennessee. Traveled all the way out here to beautiful Dublin, Ireland to attend the festival. It's an incredible fest, a lot of fun that we had today. I had the opportunity to speak in front of all the home brewers here and talk about sour and wild beer, kind of what we're doing in Nashville, hopefully inspire some of the folks around here just to go out, seek what you can find locally, find that funk, find what is inspiring, and bring it to the next HomebrewCon. Thank you.
I love this guy's enthusiasm. Brandon Jones is probably most known for his website and Facebook group Embrace the Funk, which is probably the #1 resource on the internet for information about wild fermentations and sour beers. Sour beers are something I'm increasingly coming to appreciate myself, so I was disappointed that I couldn't make his Yazoo beer tasting night in Alfie Burns a couple of nights beforehand. Still, seeing how he achieved the flavours he is known for was quite informative. The lengths one can go to in order to capture wild yeast were crazy, and remember, don't drink the sample. The audience discussion could have gone on for another hour. I predict loads of sour beers at Club Meets for 2017. Let's see what flavours can be generated by wild Irish yeasts. Suddenly, as if by magic, a huge bag of cans from Rascal's Brewing appeared. just in time too, as my swag bag beers have run out. So relaxing with my big hop red, I settled down to enjoy this year's panel discussion with our 3 American guests who held an open Q&A session on everything beer related. You better believe that Brandon was still popular, all those unanswered questions at the end of his talk got an airing. Next year's BrewCon could be 100% devoted to sour beer and it would still sell out. There's some interesting revelations too, such as being the person who set a generation of brewers on the path discovering new flavours and to bring weird and wonderful beers to the world. John Palmer's favourite beer is a good old fashioned Cascade and Chinook American Pale Ale. Can't beat the classics. On to the moment we've all been waiting for, Ireland's first Homebrew Club Night. Clubs from all Ireland travelled to Dublin to be there. We'd Belfast Homebrewers, Wee County Brewers, Kilkenny Brewers and Garden County Brewers to name a few, as well as their local clubs like Capital or North County. We do need to work on our club names though folks, not a brewing pun that you had. Have to change that by next year I think. Most people had at least one corny keg in tow, so there was plenty of beer to be sampled. BrewCon is as much about the social aspects as it is about learning. Most club members exist to me as usernames in internet forums. It's the one time of year we can get to catch up face to face. Particularly for me this year, as fatherhood has reduced the number of club meets I can attend, so one night showcasing beers from brewers all over the country was perfect. I tried beers from old friends and from people from far off cities whose recipes I had followed but never actually met in person. Brilliant.
You're drinking a Lyle's Golden Bitter, which was brewed by Belfast Beer Club in Hillstown Brewery, and it's got a lot of amber malt in it, a bit of biscuit malt, quite a lot of Lyle's Golden syrup, and so it won the Belfast competition for the bitters, for the best bitter. We went down as a club to Hillstown Brewery, we brewed 200 litres of it, and so this is the keg we got given to take with us.
I just love the passion of the brewers to describe their recipe and process as they poured me their beer. Hearing somebody talk about doing the thing they love is one of the things that really make me enjoy life. And how often does the opportunity arise to present your prized homebrew to the likes of Tasty McDole?
CO2 level, sure. It's naturally conditioned, so. Oh, it is.
I really like it. It's good. Nice and dry.
Yeah.
But not dry from acrid dry like roast. That's the recipe?
That's the recipe.
There was plenty more beers to be sampled at club night, homebrews, craft brews and some bottle shares, but that's where I decided to pack away the camera and just relax. All in all, I had a great day. BrewCon 2017 was a huge success and the conference is going from strength to strength every year. It's a credit to the National Homebrew Club that they've created an event as a highlight of the year for the Irish homebrewer and is gaining notoriety around the world. News of our conference has already reached the colonies. Later this year, I visited Minneapolis for the American Homebrewers Association HomebrewCon, which in scale may be in a different galaxy to BrewCon, but I wore my BrewCon t-shirt with pride and I got many queries about next year's date and even some offers to speak. That we have something like BrewCon in my home city just shows what a great community there is in Ireland, and I'm proud to be a part of it. Cheers to Thomas and all the other volunteers who made the day possible. A lot of hard work went into this and it really was appreciated. BrewCon 2018 will be back in Smock Alley on the 12th of May. I'll see you there.